Hey everyone, it's Joy here for Pawsome Stamps. Today I made a Thinking of You scene card that has all of the spring vibes going on. Now I'm using the Spring Day stamp and coordinating die, and as you can see it has tons of stamps on here, and I'm going to use the cute little cart. I've got some butterflies, I have the bunny, and some clouds. I love this stamp set because you can create a whole little scene with just this stamp set, which I love. I really do love to do scene cards, so that's what we're going to do here today. Now I'm going to be doing some no line coloring with some Zig Clean Color Real Brush Markers, but I'm going to be using the Distress Oxide ink in Antique Linen. I used that before I ever got any no line coloring stamps or ink pads because it really works. You know that it's the Antique Linen Distress Oxide, and so it is water reactive, so it actually works really nice when you're doing some Zig Clean Color Real Brush Markers because you are bringing in some water. Now I'm also using Bristol Smooth cardstock. I think this is the 100-pound weight. So I stamped all of the images I'm going to use, and then I'm going to give you the colors. All the colors I'm using of the Zigs are pale pink, light blue, turquoise green, which is this color right here, light green, black, dark oatmeal, mid gray, and bright yellow. I think this little cart is really super, super cute, and so I'm going to be coloring this in the turquoise green, the light pink, the dark oatmeal, and the black, which is going to be for the tire. I want this to kind of have a wood look, and then this fun, bright, springy color for that the little overhang, the little top overhang. So when I'm using Zig Clean Color Real Brush Markers, 9 times out of 10, I really use one color and then use the water to blend it out to give me the dark shadows and the light areas, like I would do with a Copic marker. With Copic markers, I use usually 3 colors, sometimes 2, depending on the size of the image. This, I'm just using one color and then blending it out with my water brush pen. I'm using my water brush pen like a paintbrush. I have some water that I just spritzed on my work surface from my Distress sprayer, and I'm just dipping the tip of my brush in that and then lightly tapping it off onto a paper towel because I don't want it dripping wet, but I want it to carry some water. That way I feel like I have more control if I don't have it full of water. That's why I don't fill up my water brush pens, because I feel like I get too much water sometimes. But that's just me, so that's just kind of how I do it. So I'm just coloring the cute wood part, and again, that's the dark oatmeal. And I'm kind of coloring certain areas first, letting it dry, and then I'll come back and color the other part of that because I really want to make sure I'm not cross-contaminating colors. If they're still wet, I have a better chance if they're still kind of dry. So I took that dark oatmeal marker, rubbed it on my work surface because I wanted it to be lighter, and then just dipped my water brush pen into that to color that little box of flowers. So it's the same marker as the base of this cart, but I diluted it by coloring it on my work surface first. I used the light blue for the clouds. Here is the light green, of course, for all of the leaves and the little stems. I'm blending out the leaves, and I'm just tracing lightly over the stems of the flowers with the actual marker. Then the bright yellow is kind of this orangey color. Again, just laying down the tiniest bit of color and then taking my brush and blending that out. So I'm going to add a few more colors. I'm going to do the light blue, and I am doing the light pink for these flowers. Then I'm doing light pink and turquoise green for the butterflies, and I'm just kind of blending those together. And you can see I'm not adding a ton of color, especially on these smaller images, because you can really go far. If you want your image to be completely dark, you could just color the whole thing. You don't even have to add water, but you do always need to use a watercolor paper with your Zig markers if you want to move it around. I would say just in general, always use watercolor paper. I'm using mid-gray for this cute little bunny. He's going to turn out to be a cute little gray bunny. And like I was saying before, this stamp set is really great. It's a large stamp set. You have quite a few things in here to make a scene card. It has a cute little bike. It has some balloons, but I love that it has butterflies and it has clouds. It's going to give your card some movement, which I really think is really great when you're making a scene card. So this is going to be a super simple scene card. I'm also creating a mini slimline card. My card base for the mini slimline is 6.5 by 3.5, but my card panel is 6 by 3. That's where I trimmed it down to, which we will get to in just a little bit. I'm adding a little bit of that pale pink to the inside of his ears for the bunny. And then for the tire, I didn't want it super stark black, so that's why I added the black marker to my work surface, diluted it with some water, and then added it to the wheel. Then I'm using the mid-gray just to kind of trace those spokes and the center piece of that wheel. This actually came together pretty quick. This is kind of an all coloring card, but it came together pretty quick. And I love how it looks, and I really love coloring with Zig Markers. I think it's almost foolproof. I just don't think you can mess it up. So this last color is the light pink, and then I'm going to use the coordinating dies to die cut them out. I love a good coordinating die, but obviously if you don't have that, you could just fussy cut those. I'm going to tape those in place with some low tack tape. And then I'm going to run this through my die cut machine. I'm using the Spellbinder's Platinum 6 die cut machine. Now, I want to make some grass for the bottom of my card. So again, this is the panel that's 6 by 3 inches. I took that light green and added it to my work surface, and I have a big wide brush, and I'm just painting it on, and I kind of want it to fade out more towards the bottom so it's not so dark. And I'm trying to make a straight line. I should have just taped it off, but I didn't, but no big deal. I'm going to take that same green, and inside of the spokes of that on the cart, the wheel on the cart, I'm going to color that in with some gray, and I have to be really careful to not muddy up some of that color, which I did in a couple little spots. It's not super noticeable, so I really wasn't worried about it, but I was definitely trying to be careful. Now I'm going to splatter the top part of this with the light blue, and then I'm going to splatter the bottom part with the light green. I just felt like I wanted to add a little something because I'm not going to color the sky blue because the clouds are already blue. Then adding the splatter effects to the grass, I don't know, just felt like it gave it more interest. So just a little bit of splatter. I did not go crazy, but I feel like it does add a little something, and I'm definitely trying to add that more into my projects. So I'm just going to let that dry. Well, actually I'm going to dry it with my heat tool, but if you don't want to use that, just set it aside to dry. Okay, so I have it in my MISTI, and I'm just laying out my cart, and I'm going to come in with the sentiment that says thinking of you from the Spring Day sentiments. There's some really great sentiments in there, but I thought thinking of you was great because it could even be a birthday card. You could kind of turn this into whatever you needed. So I stamped that with black ink. I added some foam tape behind that image. I'm going to add some foam tape behind a cloud and the bunny and one of the little butterflies that's going to be landing on the flowers. That also has some foam tape. So this has a pretty good amount of dimension on this card, but I absolutely love dimension. So I just kind of tend to lean towards that. I thought it was cute to have the bunny sitting up on the cart, so he needs to have a little bit of foam tape too. And then I'm going to mount this onto a white mini slimline card base. But first I need to color in the grounding part to my image. So I came in with that light green and added some darker lines, and I'm just blending that out with the water. Now, some of it was a little too dark for me, so I added more water to my brush to kind of remove some of that color, and then I was blending it out just a little bit more, if that makes sense. So I think these Zig markers are quite forgiving. So I'm going to add this to the card base, and then this card is finished. And I love how this turned out. Like I said, this is a great stamp set. And look, we have this really cute little scene card that was so easy to create with one stamp set, one die set. Super, super simple. Thank you guys so very much for stopping by and watching. I hope that you enjoyed this project, and I will see you soon. Bye.